Hi, welcome. My name is Lois Kwa. I'm with the Adult Learning Center at the Public Library of Cincinnati and Hamilton County. And thank you for joining us for our Lunch and Learn live session on Facebook today. At the Adult Learning Center, we provide services for many types of adult education, including English as a second language, resource referral, workforce development, and also college prep resources. Today I'm going to be looking at the Testing and Education Reference Center resource through the Cincinnati Library's website and looking at college planning resources in general. This upcoming Thursday at noon, the manager at the Adult Learning Center, Keith Armour, will be hosting a session also on Testing and Education Reference Center and focusing more in depth on the tests and courses available through that resource. So please do join us then if you can. If you have any questions about content that you see today or content that we've covered in the past or any of our services in general, please do feel free to reach out to us. Our email is alc@cincinnatilibrary.org. We would be very happy to help. Okay, so let's get started. What I'm going to do is go ahead and share my screen with you so you can see what it looks like and feels like to use the website and all of the websites and resources through the Cincinnati Library page. So we'll go ahead and kind of skip over and do that now.
Okay, so now that you can see my screen, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to get to Testing and Education Reference Center through the main website of the Cincinnati Library at cincinnatilibrary.org. We're going to come up to eBranch and down e-learning. And this is the library's collection of online educational resources. If you're curious about any of the other offerings, you can come down to the bottom of the page and read the descriptions of all the different programming that we have, which is really convenient before coming up to the correct thumbnail. We are going to look today at education, testing and education, the Testing and Education Reference Center. When we click on this, it is a free online resource with a library card. So if you don't have a library card and are interested in getting one or know someone who is interested in getting one, you can give us a call. And this is the library's collection 513-369-6900. If you're curious about any of the other offerings, you can come down to the bottom of the page and read the descriptions of all the different programming that we have, which is really convenient before coming up to the correct login. We are going to look today at education, testing and education, the Testing and Education Reference Center. To this page. Click on this. It is a free online and resource. What is Testing and Education Reference Center? It is a online resource bank for students at many different levels. So current high school students, college students, graduate students, vocational students, and anybody who is looking to enter those different types of programs. There is free access to a lot of practice tests and test prep courses, as well as access to free online books such as exam handbooks and preparatory guides. So really good collection. It is a lot. So we are going to focus on college prep today and look at how to find these different resources, and we'll also talk about how to use some of them in sort of a more organized way in the college prep process. So to look for these resources today, we're going to come down to the bottom of the page and go to College Planning Center and click on More Info. We're going to go through kind of the greatest hits of everything that's offered on this page today. Look at some key ways that the information is offered and things that we can do with it. And the first thing that we see is the planning guide. And there's two checklists here. One is for students and one is for parents. This is specifically for high school students who are looking to start the process of applying to college or looking into that planning process. And it's divided based on grade level. So we can see that when we open up, say, grade 9, make the screen a little bigger. Okay. It's going to give a clear, concise, written article with suggestions of actionable items based on different academic quarters. So you can see when you don't need to do all of these at once. You can focus on a few things depending on where you are in the year. All right? And then the parent checklist for the same grade is going to look similar, but has a couple of differences. It's organized more by month, and again, it's geared towards parents. So if your child is in this process, you can support by looking at these suggestions depending on their grade level. Here we come down to the Advice Center articles. So the college prep process, there are so many questions that can come up for it and so many things to think about and look at, and it can be overwhelming. So this is really great advice articles. And there's a general advice section, but there's also more specific ones, such as college search, college application, test preparation, career exploration, and paying for college. We're just going to look at kind of what this resource looks like in general. Again, it's going to be structured as these articles. Readable. Okay. With bullet points, different little sections. Really good read-throughs, just general tips and advice so you can learn more about the general information that you might need. This college search section is nice and comprehensive. There's not just really specific stuff like academics and campus life when choosing college. There's also information about career and vocational colleges, two-year colleges, and nursing programs. So it's going to kind of widen that net, which is good. College application advice, and then test preparation. We're going to talk about test preparation a lot more in depth in a minute. But here, if somebody is new to the standardized test process, this is going to offer some helpful, frequently asked question style tips and knowledge. Now, standardized tests are going to be different depending on what program someone is looking into. So for high school students applying to undergraduate institutions, the main ones are going to be the SAT and the ACT. For applicants to community colleges, the AccuPlacer is really important. There's also the Work Keys test, and then the GED as well. And we'll look at some of the different ones. But because those are all different standardized tests, they do have some things in common. So there's helpful advice for a lot of things like test stress and anxiety, specific things about the SAT and ACT, but also some advice about scoring. So this is going to be like a general tips section. There's career exploration, including tips on resumes, interviews, and first jobs. We are going to look at a resume tool more specifically in a little bit. Okay, this is a helpful section, paying for college. We are going to look at the outside link to FAFSA as well as searching for scholarships. But for any general questions before even diving into that process, this is going to really illuminate a lot of information. So for example, like the difference between federal and state aid, an overview of the FAFSA and the FAFSA tips before you go into the website and turn in the application. Also letters in dealing with financial aid counselors, lots of different things like that. Okay, now we come to the test preparation section. These are where the really great resources are for free. There is an announcement up here at the top of the page. If you see, courses and practice tests will be new starting June 25th. So if you access this resource and you start taking any test, just a tip that users should finish any in-progress test by the 24th. And then you can start taking the new improved material on the 25th. Okay. So if you are preparing for the GED, I do want to say, when I opened up the GED practice test link, that service is not currently current. So when you look at it, it might not offer the actual free practice tests. You can access free online GED practice test type material using, for example, Google. You could type in free online GED practice tests. It'll take you there. If you are interested in finding material like that, but you're having a little trouble or you would like some guidance, at the Adult Learning Center, we can help you access those references and resources. Our email address is alc@cincinnatilibrary.org if you'd like to contact us there. You could also call the library at 513-369-6900 and ask for a My Librarian appointment through the ALC, and you'll be connected with somebody who can, over the phone, with a one-on-one appointment, refer you to resources more quickly for GED prep. We are going to look at this Master the GED test link. And it's loading. So while it's loading, okay, here we go. So for any of these free online courses and practice tests off Testing and Education Reference Center, you are going to have to create an account to log in and access them. I've done that in the past, but I'm going to show you what it looked like when I registered. you would click on the register section and fill out your name, username, and password information. An email address is not necessary to log in. You just need your login information, but an email address is best if you would like to retrieve or reset your username or password in the future in case you forget it. So you'd fill out all that and sign up. So I'm going to put in my account information. Okay, let's make this a little smaller. So this is an example of the free online handbooks that are offered through this resource. This is Peterson's Master the GED. It is a PDF, so if you have printing access, you could print this out, and it's kind of like having a GED prep book that you could write in. But if you don't have printing access, you can still look at this at home off of a computer or device, anything that has a screen. And you can see it's a whole workbook. It tells you all about the GED test, and then it has a diagnostic test so that you can determine your strengths and focus areas, weaknesses, things you're already comfortable with. It's going to have all these different practice test information, answer keys and explanations for the answers, as well as score analysis. It has a lot of material about how best to master the different subject areas. And once we come down the subject areas, 2 practice tests, 2 full GED practice tests. So you can, if you're doing this on a screen, you can use paper and pencil outside and write down your answers, score your tests, and look at the explanations that they have. If you have access to a printer, you could print it out and write on them. But this is really great because it means that you can prepare for the GED by sort of practicing taking it, knowing what it feels like when you're in there. Okay, so again, this is the Master the GED. Let's look up to the top. Master the GED link off of GED Prep in the test preparation site. This is the academic skills question banks, and then this is going to be not specific to any one test. One thing that the standardized tests have in common, regardless of which one someone is taking, is that they tend to focus on different subject areas and content covered in grades 6 through 12. So this divides it up. We have basic skills for math, reading, science, and writing, and I'm going to open up the math basic skills grades 6 through 8 question banks just to show what it looks like and how to use those. Again, it takes us to this website. I've already logged in, so it took me straight there. And you can see all the different banks that we have based on different content. So there's geometry, numbers and operations, an algebra practice, for example. Anytime you take a practice test through this website, it's going to give you the title. It's going to give you the practice test length. It says it's 20 questions. It's going to give you the time that you're given. And also when you're done taking it, it will give you the percentage you got correct. So if you took all of these algebra practices, you could see the percentages that you got as you progressed through taking them. This is really great for self-study, self-practice. If you're building up your foundational skills or working towards working on these subjects on a particular test, you can kind of come here and track your progress that way. When we open it up, you're going to click Start Practice Test a couple of different times. And then it will start with the questions. You fill out, you can click on an answer, click Confirm, and it brings you to the next question. And you go through. When you're done, it will give you your answers and also explanations of the correct answer. All right, so leave that page. So that is the foundational academic skills question banks. Now we come into the more specific tests again. PSAT prep, this is going to be for high school students of a certain grade and age. There's a PSAT practice test and also another handbook that's here that you can look at. So this is really helpful for high school students. Okay. Now, high school students who are applying to undergraduate institutions, the 2 main tests that usually get taken into consideration are the SAT and the ACT, and preparation resources for them can be hard to find or costly. Not all of them are, but this is one example of a free, accessible resource that is geared towards those tests.
This is the SAT subject test prep, so the very specific SAT test. So if somebody is taking the SAT in biology or world history, you can come here and find practice tests with the appropriate time and length specific to those structures. Okay, and then here we have SAT prep and ACT prep. These are two different tests. They work differently, but the resources here are going to be built the same way, so we're only going to look at one. So we're going to look at the ACT practice tests first. When I open that, again, it takes me into this program. And again, this looks pretty similar to the Academic Foundations resource that we were looking at a minute ago. However, you can see that instead of it being, 20 questions of math all the way through, there are different numbers of questions specific to different sections. And that's because these are all designed to be specific to this practice test. So if I were practicing the English on the ACT, I could take this. And once I'd scored it and seen the percentage I'd gotten correct, if I wanted to practice again, I could come down to the ACT practice test 2. Whoops, that's math. ACT practice test 2 for the same section and do it again without looking at the content I've already seen. So there's 3 full practice tests in this Peterson site that you can access for free. Let's look at what this looks like. So ACT English, and you can see here it tells you the section name, the section length, the section time, and then it'll give you your score when you're done. This is pretty important. This is not just giving you content practice for general English and language. It is structuring it very specifically to the actual official ACT test. So again, when you take this, you will be learning because you are actually practicing something similar to what you might see on the official test, because the test will be 75 questions in 45 minutes. So again, we click Start Practice Test a bunch. And you can see the passage. This is how the ACT test is structured, so you will become more familiar just by doing this with that test prep. Okay, and you can see there's a timer that's coming down, so you can see where you're at with time, and then again you can review and finalize the section. And that is what the ACT practice tests will look like. You can do it all in your own time. If you are only practicing one section, you can only practice those sections. If you're doing the full practice test, you can do all the sections. Really good for independent study. Okay, so speaking of independent study, the practice tests are good if you are kind of self-directed and just working through at your own pace. But if you benefit from having a little more structure in your learning, as you're going through and studying, then the ACT online course is going to be super helpful. So I've opened that up. You can see it already looks a little different. This one offers lessons, so actual slides and advice for learning different subject material. You can see here the introductory lessons are about the ACT, demystifying it, and also just learning and understanding scoring. But there's another resource which is pre-assessments, which means that if I open up the math pre-assessment, it's going to start giving me math questions. So I'll work through them and answer and go through. And at the end of the 60 minutes and 60 questions, this pre-assessment will be saved with my score, looking at areas that I'm already comfortable at and areas that I could benefit from focusing on. And the benefit of that, I'm going to leave this page. Let's say I've taken all my pre-assessments. I can go to progress and results, and it will say, once you log into your account, it will save your progress. And it will show all the pre-tests that you've taken and your scores. It'll show the lessons that you've done on these different subjects to study, and then it will also log what your progress on practice tests has been. So this is a really nice way to kind of organize your learning a little bit more. All right, so there's that online course for both the SAT and ACT. Here's resources for work keys. Work keys is another standardized test that's offered before getting into some institutions, and there are reading and applied mathematics free practice tests here too. If you are a high school student or know a high school student who is enrolled in AP classes and are preparing for those tests at the end of next year, there are free practice tests for a whole lot of different subjects here for all the advanced placement available. Okay, so that is the test prep center. Now we're going to look at the school search. So before applying to college, an important part of the college prep process is going to be deciding which schools to apply to, how to focus your application, different parts of it like the resume or the letter, and also applying for financial aid. So we're going to start with finding schools to apply to. There are two different search options here. One is for college and scholarship, and one's for vocational technical, and we'll look at both. The first one, college and scholarship search. When we open it up, there are a lot of resources here. You can see down at the bottom, we have financial aid information, and we will look at that a little bit at the end. So for now, we're just going to look at the undergraduate school search. Click Start Now. And it takes us to a database, and you can organize it a couple different ways. So if you're looking for schools to apply to, the first way that you can look is through a detailed college search, where you decide what is most important to you, and then you can continue, and it will suggest different schools that you might want to apply to based on your values, what you're looking for, what you need, your interests, things like that. There's also a more specific search. So if you already know the name of the school you want to apply to, you can type it in. I'm going to type University of Cincinnati. Just so you know, when you click See My Results, every time I've done this, it's taken me to like the white bottom of the page, and I thought it didn't load, so it scrolled up to the top. All right, so here we have 3 results: University of Cincinnati, UC Blue Ash, UC Claremont College. And one really great thing about this search database is when it gives you multiple schools, you can see all of their different information listed in one place. So location, enrollment size, some statistics on standardized test entry scores, but also tuition for in and out of state, and entrance difficulty. So this is one way that you can kind of, it can help streamline your decision-making process. Okay, so that was the college name search. You can also search by keyword. So let's say I search nursing. I don't know what geographic area I'm looking at. I'm not sure what else. I just know that I'm looking by keyword, and you can see it's given me colleges and institutions that either have nursing programs or specifically nursing schools. So Goldfarb School of Nursing at Barnes Jewish College and St. Joseph's College of Nursing. So this is one way to prioritize your search as well. And then there's the alphabetical search. So if we look at all the schools that start with A, again, one thing that's helpful is you can see locations, enrollments, and tuition and entrance difficulty, and this can be very helpful as well. Okay. Come back to vocational technical school search. Okay, this is a database that works similarly, but it's going to focus on career colleges, vocational technical schools, distance learning programs, nursing programs, IT programs, and you can see here the different options they say. I'm going to click on vocational technical school search just to show you what this looks like. Okay. It functions similarly to the last one that we looked at, in that there's different ways you can go about your search. So here you can enter the school name that you already know you're looking at. But here you can do a program search based on the vocational specificity. So if you clicked on that, let's say computer programming, no preference, and then here you can toggle based on whether the school should offer need-based financial aid and whether programs are offered via distance. Click OK, and then it wants a state, so I'm going to click Ohio. Let's go with Cincinnati. All right. So based on the search results that the search criteria I put in, my results are it suggests to look at University of Cincinnati Raymond Walters College for computer programming, given the parameters I gave it. So this is really helpful. Now, resumes for college applications. This is a resume writing resource available through this website. And it does tell us that the resume builder tool, which is this first one, will be unavailable starting May 31st. So they recommend that you use Visual CV Resume Creator, which is down here. Of course, if you use Resume Builder before the 31st and can print out resumes or save them, you should be just fine and can do that. But we're going to look at Visual CV. All right. So one thing that's pretty great about this is that it offers visual templates. So I clicked Start a New Resume or CV. And then I'm going to click Use Sample Content. Just show you what it looks like here. And you can just see how you want it to look. So if I wanted to do a resume that looks like this, it already filled in my name and my email address through my account, but it doesn't have my phone number, so I need to plug that in. So you'd go through a template, and every box with information you're going to replace with information specific to you, and you can go down and add everything. Now, for high school students, this is not going to be as relevant. These are mostly professional resumes, but for continuing education, this is really great because you can put in your work experience that you have, previous education, your skills and experience before sending it in for an application. This is a lot easier than typing a resume up from scratch. This takes care of all the formatting for you, and it's pretty easy. You can kind of hover and see the boxes that you would want to click and fill in. Just like this. And you can replace with your own personal information, and it will save everything for you. Okay, so that's pretty great. Okay, so that is the resume writing preparation. And then we are going to look at the FAFSA site to close up. So in the Pay for College section, there's the link back to the college and scholarship search page. Oh, I think I need to get this. Okay. So if you're applying for student aid, this is going to be pretty important. It takes you straight to the FAFSA site, which is the free application for federal student aid for financial aid. And if you're new, you can start here. And if you're returning, you would log in. It does take you to an outside website, and if you would like to get there without going through the resource login, the website is studentaid.gov, so you can access it there. Okay. Okay. There's also tuition cost finder, a financial aid literacy quiz, and a college savings calculator. So there's a nice collection of resources here for financial aid. There's also a career information center in the college prep. This is the Occupational Outlook Handbook, and it also takes us to Resume Builder. So if you're more focused on applying for a new position or entering a new industry, you can still use the resume tool that we looked at earlier, and instead of for other purposes. So it's really handy. Okay, I think it's about time to wrap up. So what I'm going to do, so this is the end of the college prep section. If you have questions about anything that we've covered today, or anything else about our services related to Testing and Education Reference Center, you can please feel free to reach out. Our email address again, it's alc@cincinnatilibrary.org. You can contact us. We'd be really happy to help. I'm going to switch out from sharing my screen now and open the floor up for questions if you have any. Okay. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us. I think we hit time just a little bit ago. I hope some of that was helpful, and if you that was helpful, or you know anyone that the information could be helpful to, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and contact us. Our email address is alc@cincinnatilibrary.org. And thank you so much again. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.